Hello, beautiful viewers, Thomas, author of the Cosmos. Prepare to indulge in experiencing sheer bliss, because today another riveting, captivating, stellar unboxing video is about to be brought to fruition. What item will I be unboxing? What item will I be opening? Without further delay, without further procrastination, allow me to elicit the box. What tangible item is encompassed inside this hefty, bulky, nifty box? Let's find out. I'm going to demystify that answer to that inquiry and render the contents of the box transparent, so bear with me. It will only take billions of picoseconds for me to commence the unboxing process. I'm going to utilize this nifty pair of scissors to penetrate through the box. I'll do it gingerly. I'll render an aperture in the box. Hopefully no items will get damaged amid this savage process. This is uncanny. This is unorthodox. This is unprecedented. Most people unbox their items without puncturing the box. However, I beg to differ. I'm the polar opposite when it comes to unboxing items. I prefer to do something unusual, unique, and novel. Let me render a hole in the box. No valid reason other than to appease you. There we go. Is this box going to be impaled by spikes? Who knows? That is an enigma. I'm not part of the waste management industry, nor will I likely ever be. I do not know what the future will entail. The future is obscure. The future is unforeseeable. The future is precarious. The future is unpredictable. The future is an enigma. The future is unknown. The future is has yet to be brought to fruition. The future will entail me unboxing these items. I can assure you of that. Now, I recollect procuring these items for roughly $2.50 each. I'd have to verify that. We have Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog. Two extraordinary hunks of plastic. They have articulation in their finger joints. They have articulation in their legs. Can they perform an ankle pivot? Unfortunately not. Do they have a diaphragm joint? Unfortunately not. Is their head on a disc joint? It apparently is not stationed on a disc joint. Their hair can be articulated. This is quite a novelty. Well, at least, actually both of them have adjustable hair, so you can modify the position of their hair. Are they adorned with any unusual markings or cosmetics? Apparently not. They're in their standard costumes. Sonic's appendage has been compromised. He's missing his left hand, which is unfortunate. Shadow, on the other hand, is missing an ear. I guess he's partially deaf, unless he has stellar hearing capabilities. His divine powers likely allow him to augment his senses, so that he's truly divine in all facets. These figurines have a hinge in their toes. They're quite remarkable. They're extraordinary. They may not be in pristine condition. They may not be unscathed. Nonetheless, they still merit. I'm not willing to pay nearly 20 times more just to procure a Shadow the Hedgehog that has his ear intact, nor am I willing to pay nearly 30 times more to procure a Sonic figurine that has his hand intact. They stand roughly 6 to 7 inches tall. If you don't believe me, let's see how they scale. There's a 5-inch Foot Tech Soldier. See, or an Urkai Berserker stands roughly 6 to 7 inches tall. They were touted to be roughly 6 to 7 inches tall. That's what I can recollect. They actually do look 5 to 6 inches tall if you look at them up close. They have joints in their knees, in their legs, in their elbows, in their fingers. They can rotate their wrists. They can rotate their head. Their hair can be... Their hairstyles can be revamped. They can be modified. They can be customized at your own discretion. The hairs can be ascended or descended. They can be stationed in the air, if you so choose to. Or they can be leaning against the character's arms, if you so choose to as well. You can tamper with these figurines. You can place them into dynamic poses. They're pretty epic, in my humble opinion. Your sentiments pertaining to these figurines may be disparate from mine. Perhaps you think that these figurines are dreadful in no facets. Do I believe that they're abysmal in any facet? Well, I would have preferred if they were a little bit shorter to more accurately denote the authentic heights of Shadow and Sonic the Hedgehog when they coincide with other action figures that are part of a 6-inch action figure line. In other words, they do not scale eminently with shorter figurines. They tower over them. The joints seem to be relatively sturdy despite their age. They've aged well. I believe that they have appreciated rather than depreciated, at least in terms of their extrinsic value. What about their intrinsic value? I think their intrinsic value has diminished over the course of time. Why? The Shadow no longer has his ear. Furthermore, the Sonic the Hedgehog no longer has his hand. Can I remedy this situation? Can I rectify it? I'm not going to splurge further on these figurines. I procure them for roughly $2.50 each. I'll retain my purchase and decision, and I won't buy the necessary components to render them complete, since I do not want to invest further in these figurines. I've already depleted my finite monetary assets. I do not want to further put my finances in peril, so I'll just relish what I have. I love to flaunt my action figures on the shelf. I revel in collecting action figures. I'm gratified that I have these figurines, even if they're incomplete. It's not the end of the world. So here are the figurines once again. Unfortunately, most of their limbs are still intact. The joints are relatively sturdy. So with a caveat of being a bit too tall, with a caveat of being marred with some scratches and scuffs, and with a major gripe of missing certain components. I really have no qualms about these figurines. In hindsight, I would have purchased them for slightly over $4 again, but if they were priced at $10, then I would have likely abstained from purchasing them. I would have desisted from purchasing them. So once again, here are the glorious figurines that are likely a part of a Sonic the Hedgehog action figure line. Shadow makes a cameo appearance in Sonic Adventure 2 for the GameCube. Sonic the Hedgehog is illustrious, he's revered, he's renowned. I'm sure you know who he is. These are both video game characters. Shadow is the nemesis of Sonic the Hedgehog. He's practically the antithesis of Sonic the Hedgehog. He at one point worked for Dr. Eggman, who was a sadistic, malicious doctor. I think he may have been hell-bent on wreaking havoc against innocuous individuals, or leveraging the emerald crystals for his own malicious intentions. Nonetheless, Sonic the Hedgehog is able to avert catastrophes from being brought to fruition. He's able to prevail against his adversaries. He's able to subdue Dr. Eggman and cause him to succumb to defeat so that he can safeguard his fellow human beings and allies that fight for a justified cause. Sonic the Hedgehog's actions are vindicated. He's just striving to protect the ones he loves. So I'm done pontificating about the merits of these figurines. The scratches do irritate me a bit. Am I imbued with rage? I wouldn't go that far, but I am gratified that I finally was able to obtain Sonic the Hedgehog figurines that have finger joint articulation. It's quite a novelty, it's something scarce. It's quite seldom for figurines to have articulation in their finger joints. Furthermore, most figurines lack a hinge in their toes, so although the fact that they have more points of articulation than the standard figurine, but it doesn't compensate for the fact that they're technically incomplete. As I stated earlier, if you can recollect, Shadow the Hedgehog is missing an ear and Sonic the Hedgehog is missing a hand, but if I were able to remedy that issue and paint over the scratches, and they would practically be an embodiment of Sonic perfection. The height issue is not that abysmal. I'd rather have them be taller than shorter. They do scale eminently with a significantly taller action figure line. My action figures are roughly average in height. They're about 5 to 6 inches for the most part, so they will tower over some figurines, but you could also imagine Sonic and Shadow the Hedgehog that are a bit taller than their video game iterations or their animated series iterations. So in retrospect, I still would have purchased them for slightly over $5, even with their flaws and defects. The package is not devoid of its contents. The box can be relegated to the trash. I've elucidated everything that I wanted to notify you of. I hope that you found this video to be enthralling and insightful. Have a wonderful, marvelous day. Goodbye.